In this video, we are going to learn gateway aggregation pattern. This is similar with the gateway routing, but extra it is offering aggregation of services. So basically, gateway aggregation pattern offers to use API gateway service that provide to aggregate multiple individual requests towards to internal microservices with exposing a single request to the client application. This pattern should be used if the client application have to invoke several different backend microservices to perform its logic. So in some cases, client applications need to make multiple calls to different backend microservices in order to perform one use case for the customer. But this leads to chitinous communication between a client and a backend services and impact the performance in a bad manner. Also, if new service added into that use cases, then client need to send additional requests, and this increase the network calls and latency. So the solution of this kind of problems are using API gateway aggregation pattern to abstract complex internal backend service communication from the client applications. Basically, the main idea of gateway aggregation pattern is dispatches requests to the several backend microservices and then aggregates the results and send them back to the requesting client. You can see the image on the slide. If we wouldn't put this aggregation box here, you can think that the client directly access to backend microservices. The client send requests to each services, and each microservice process the request and send response back to the client application. So that means these number 2, 3, 4 and 5 should be handled in the client application, and this will cause the network problems and increase the latency, and it is not a good to manage direct access services from the client and not good to invoke services responsible to the client. So in order to solve this problem, we can use gateway to reduce chitinous between the client and internal microservices. The gateway receives the client request and dispatch the request to the several backend microservices, and then aggregate the result and send back to the requesting client application. So this pattern can reduce the number of the requests that the application makes to backend services and improve application performance over the high latency network. So what is the issues and considerations of using gateway aggregation pattern? The gateway should not introduce the service coupling across the backend services. The gateway service may introduce any single point of failure. That's why we should be careful about it. And also the gateway may introduce a bottleneck. If the gateway is down, the application could be corrupt the business. And also we should implement resilient pattern to using techniques like bulkhead circuit breaking and retry and timeout pattern in the API gateway application.